Hello! Today we're going to talk about preferences, and we'll also talk about restaurants, food, and recipes, and learning how to use so, to, either, and neither. Okay, what is a recipe? Well, a recipe is a written or spoken instruction that we can use to learn how to cook a certain meal. Sylvia, what is your favorite food?
My favorite food is shish kebab.
And what is shish kebab?
Shish kebab is made from small pieces of meat and vegetables. You cook it on a skewer like a small stick over a fire.
That sounds good. Okay, Alberto, what is your favorite food?
My favorite food is lasagna.
And what is lasagna?
Lasagna is made from layers of pasta and meat sauce cooked in the oven.
Wonderful. How about you, Linda? What is your favorite food?
My favorite food is paella.
Oh, what is paella?
Paella is a dish made from rice, fish, chicken, meat, and vegetables all cooked together.
That sounds delicious. Well, I'm getting very hungry listening to all these recipes. Okay, let's look at some vocabulary which we have used and some new words that we can use to talk about cooking special meals or food. Okay, first we have a skewer for Sylvia's shish kebabs, and we know meat, of course, chicken, fish, shish kebab, Sylvia's favorite, paella, Linda's specialty, lasagna, an Italian favorite, vegetables, pasta. We can cook in an oven or we can barbecue, especially meat or fish. We can bake in an oven or roast, boil, fry. Okay, we start with a starter and sometimes an appetizer. Then, of course, we have our main course and dessert. Now let's look at our list. Skewer, meat, chicken, fish, shish kebab, paella, lasagna, vegetables, pasta, oven, barbecue, bake, roast, boil, fry, a starter, an appetizer, the main course, and dessert. Okay, I want you to tell me some of your favorite foods, and I will write them on the board. Okay, Sylvia.
Steak.
Steak. And Linda?
Chocolate cake.
Chocolate cake. Every woman's favorite, I think. Alberto?
Grilled fish.
Grilled fish. Sylvia?
Fruit salad.
Fruit salad. Good, especially in the summertime. Linda?
Roast chicken.
Roast chicken. Alberto?
Pizza.
Pizza, of course. Very Italian. Linda?
Ice cream.
Ice cream. Okay. Sylvia?
Soup.
Soup. Alberto?
Prawn cocktail.
Prawn cocktail. Those are all very good. Okay, let's put these into 3 groups. First will be starters, and then the main course, and then, of course, desserts. Now, starters are the food that you eat in the restaurant before the big part of the meal, the main course. The main course is usually the part of the meal with meat, fish or chicken, and vegetables or rice. And the last part of the meal is called dessert, and it's usually a sweet food or fruit. Okay, now here is our list. We have steak, chocolate cake, grilled fish, fruit salad, roast chicken, pizza, ice cream, soup, and prawn cocktail. Okay, Sylvia, which group do you think we should put steak in?
Steak is a main course.
Okay, good. So we can say main course for steak. Okay, Linda, how about chocolate cake?
Chocolate cake is a dessert.
Okay. That's right. Dessert. Chocolate cake. Okay. Alberto, how about grilled fish?
Grilled fish is a main course.
Yes. Good. And fruit salad, Sylvia?
Fruit salad is a dessert, and it's my favorite.
Okay, good. Yes, Sylvia is healthy and athletic. Okay, Alberto, how about roast chicken?
Roast chicken is main course too.
Yes, main course. Linda, pizza?
I think pizza is the main course.
Okay, good. Ice cream, Sylvia.
Ice cream is definitely a dessert.
Okay, yes. It's very sweet. Okay, soup, Linda.
Soup is a starter.
Starter, yes. Before your main course. And the last one, Alberto, prawn cocktail.
Prawn cocktail is starter.
Yes, it's also a starter. Okay, now we can talk about drinks. Tell me your favorite drinks, and of course, I will write them on the board. Who will start? Who will start? Sylvia.
My favorite drink is red wine.
Mine too. Red wine, okay. Linda?
I like fruit juice.
Fruit juice. Good. Alberto?
I prefer a glass of cold beer.
Okay, good. Linda, can you give us another favorite drink of yours?
I like milk very much.
Okay, milk. Alberto?
I like banana milkshakes.
Okay, banana milk shakes. Okay, Sylvia?
I like mineral water.
All right, always healthy, Sylvia. Mineral water. Okay, let's look at our list of favorite drinks. We have red wine, fruit juice, beer, milk, banana milkshake, and mineral water. Of course, milkshakes can be in any flavor, all fruits. All right, thank you very much.
Preferences. So, to, either, neither.
Okay, now we have talked about our favorite foods and our favorite drinks. So we're going to talk about preferences. Now, the word preference comes from the verb prefer, and it means something that we like more than other things. Okay, we use prefer to talk about or ask questions about the things we like more than other things. And we talk about general things. We don't usually use this verb to talk about a choice between two things. Instead, we use would rather. But we will look at that a little bit later. First, let's look at preferences and the verb prefer. Okay, take a look at some examples. I prefer chicken to steak. This is how we use prefer in a question. Do you prefer fruit salad to ice cream? When we ask a question with prefer, we can also say it this way. Do you prefer fruit salad or ice cream? We can also ask questions this way. Which do you prefer, chicken or fish? Okay, normally when we use the verb prefer, we use it with a gerund. For example, take a look. I prefer drinking milk to drinking water. He prefers eating fish to eating steak. Okay, we don't always need to repeat the gerund though. Could be he prefers eating fish to steak. When we speak formally, we use a special form of the verb called the infinitive. Now this you know. To plus the simple verb form. Okay, look at these examples of verbs, gerunds, and infinitives. Eat, eating, to eat. Drink, drinking, to drink. Watch, watching, to watch. Go, going, to go. Have, having, to have. Do, doing, to do. Okay, when we want to talk formally about preferences for actions, we use the infinitive together with rather than. Okay, take a look at these examples. I prefer to eat at home rather than at the restaurant. She prefers to drink red wine rather than white wine. When we answer a question using prefer, we can say the sentence in two different ways. Take a look at these sentences. Do you prefer tea to coffee? I prefer tea to coffee. So we can't say, I prefer tea or coffee. Which do you prefer, drinking tea or coffee? I prefer drinking tea to coffee. I prefer to drink tea rather than coffee. I prefer tea. Okay, let's review what we have learned about sentences, questions, and answers using prefer. Please take a look at the following table on your screen. Nouns. Okay. Example. I prefer chicken to steak. Question. Do you prefer chicken to steak? Or, which do you prefer, chicken or steak? Example of an answer, I prefer chicken, or I prefer chicken to steak. All right, gerunds plus a noun. I prefer eating chicken to eating steak, or I prefer eating chicken to steak. Question, do you prefer eating chicken to steak? Answer, I prefer eating chicken to steak. Okay, gerund used with an action verb. I prefer eating to drinking. Question, do you prefer eating to drinking? Or, which do you prefer, eating or drinking? Answer, I prefer eating to drinking. Now let's look at the infinitives. I prefer to eat chicken rather than to eat steak, or rather than steak. Question, do do you prefer to eat chicken rather than steak? Answer, I prefer to eat chicken rather than steak. Or, I prefer to eat chicken. Negative infinitive, I prefer not to eat meat. So as you can see, there are many different ways to talk about preferences, ask questions, and give answers. Let's practice using prefer in sentences and questions. Alberto, do you prefer coffee to tea?
I prefer tea to coffee.
Okay. Sylvia, do you prefer meat to vegetables?
I prefer not to eat meat.
Very good. Are you a vegetarian?
No, I prefer vegetables today.
Linda, which do you prefer, fish or chicken?
I prefer eating chicken.
Okay. Sylvia, can you please ask Alberto a question?
Okay. Alberto, do you prefer tomato soup or chicken soup?
I prefer tomato soup to chicken soup.
Okay, Alberto, can you ask Linda a question?
Yes, okay. Linda, which do you prefer, soup or prawn cocktail?
I prefer prawn cocktail.
Okay, Linda, can you ask Sylvia a question?
Okay. Sylvia, which do you prefer, drinking tea or coffee?
I prefer coffee to tea.
All right, very good, everyone. Now, let's all prefer to look and listen.
Look and listen.
I prefer chocolate ice cream to strawberry ice cream. Does he prefer tea or coffee? Do they prefer beer to wine? Do you prefer to eat at home or at a restaurant? We prefer eating at the restaurant to eating at home. She prefers not to eat fish.
Read and repeat.
Sometimes when we talk about preferences, we talk about real choices instead of just general likes or dislikes. In these situations, we don't usually use prefer, we use would rather. Okay, let's look at some examples of would rather. I would rather drink tea than coffee. Would you rather drink red or white wine? When we use would rather, we mean that we want the first thing more than the second thing. This is not a general preference. It means I want it now instead of the other choice. I want the first thing. So when we tell someone something, we always use would rather with than. Let's look at some examples again so you can see how we make a sentence. I would rather drink tea than coffee. When we ask a question, we use would rather with or. Look at the example again to see how we make a question. Would you rather drink red or white wine? When we want to make a negative sentence, we use would rather not. Okay, we only focus on the negative alternative. For example, he would rather not eat at home. Okay, let's do some more practice with would rather. First, look at these sentences and questions using would rather. She would rather have salad than soup. We would rather drink beer than wine. Would he rather have tea or coffee? I would rather eat at home than in a restaurant. Would you rather have fish or chicken for your main course? I would rather not eat meat. Okay, now let's try using what we have learned about would rather. Linda, would you rather have juice or water?
I'd rather have juice, thank you.
Okay. Alberto, would you rather have red or white wine?
I would rather have red wine, please.
All right. Sylvia, would you rather eat ice cream or fruit salad?
I would rather have fruit salad.
Of course, because she's healthy. Okay. Very good. Sylvia, can you ask Linda a question, please?
Okay. Linda, would you rather have salad or soup?
I'd rather have soup, thank you.
Okay. Linda, please ask Alberto a question.
Okay. Alberto, would you rather have milk or water?
I would rather not have water.
Very good. Now, Alberto, ask Sylvia a question.
Sylvia, would you rather drink beer or wine?
I would rather drink wine, thanks.
Okay, and now we would rather look and listen.
Look and listen.
Would you rather have milk or mineral water? I would rather have mineral water, thank you. Would she rather have fruit juice or wine? She would rather have fruit juice. Would they rather eat at home or in the restaurant? They would rather eat in the restaurant.
Read and repeat.
Now we are going to look at ways we can agree or disagree with someone about their preferences. When you agree, you think the same or have the same opinion as someone else. When you disagree, you have a different idea or a different opinion or preference from what they are talking about. There are two ways of agreeing with someone. Okay, you can either say, me too, or so, plus your auxiliary verb, plus I. Let's have a look at these sentences to see how we can use these expressions. So we have a conversation between Mike and Susan. Mike says, I prefer red wine to white wine. Susan says, me too, I love red wine. We can also agree by saying something like this. I prefer red wine to white wine. So do I love red wine. Let's have a look at another example. Mike says, she prefers meat to chicken. Susan can say, so do I prefer meat to chicken. Notice that with each of these examples, when Mike speaks, he is using a normal verb, not an auxiliary verb. And Susan agrees by using the auxiliary verb do. We always use this auxiliary verb when we agree with someone if they are using a normal verb to talk about their preferences or opinions. Now, let's look at these sentences and see how Susan agrees with Mike. I am hungry. So am I. Here's another example. I would rather have fish than chicken. So would I. Mike says, I can cook. So Susan says, so can I. Now, did you notice that when Mike speaks, he uses the verbs am, can, and would. So when Susan speaks, she uses the same verbs in her reply. So we always use the same verb the person is using if we agree with them, and they're using to be or a modal like can, could, will, and would. Okay, let's look at some sentences where people talk about their preferences and other people agree with them. Take a look. I prefer beer to wine. So do I. I would rather have ice cream than chocolate cake. So would I. I am having fish for dinner. So am I. So sometimes people talk about negative opinions or preferences. When we want to agree with a negative opinion or preference said by another person, we reply in a different way. To make a sentence with a negative agreement, we use either or neither. So this is for negative agreement. Either or neither. Okay, let's look at some examples of conversations where people are making negative statements and other people agree with these negative statements. Take a look. I don't like tomato soup. Neither do I. Mike could also agree with Peter this way. I don't either. Let's have a look at some more examples like this. I don't like coffee. I don't either. Or, neither do I. I don't like milk. Neither do I. Or, I don't either. In each of these sentences, the first speaker is using I don't. Let's look at some sentences using different verbs. I'm not hungry. Neither am I. Or, I'm not either. I can't cook. Neither can I. Or, I can't either. Okay, notice that when we use neither, the verb is always positive. This is very important because neither has a negative meaning and can't be used with a negative verb. Also, we must change the order of the subject and the verb when we use neither. Okay, let's look at a table to show how we make sentences with neither. Please follow along with the chart. Neither am I. Neither is he. Neither are we. Neither does it. Neither have I. Neither has she. Neither can they. Neither would you. Let's look at some examples using these expressions. I don't like chocolate cake. Neither do I. He can't go to the restaurant. She can't either. They aren't very hungry. Neither are we. Now let's do some practice agreeing with each other's negative sentences. Linda, can you talk about something you don't like? And then Alberto, you will reply to her sentence.
I don't like wine.
Neither do I.
Very good. Now, Sylvia, you say something and Linda will agree with you.
Okay. I don't like black coffee.
I don't either.
Good. Now, Alberto, you say something and Sylvia will agree with you.
Okay. I can't drink red wine.
Neither can I.
Okay. One more example. Sylvia, you say something and Linda will agree with you.
Okay. I haven't got a beer.
Neither do I.
All right. Good job, everyone. Now it's time to look and listen.
Look and listen.
She can't cook very well. Neither can I. We don't like shish kebab. They don't either. He doesn't like milkshakes. Neither do we.
Read and repeat.
So when we talk to other people, we don't always agree with them. When we have a different idea from what other people think or say or do, then that means we disagree with them. So disagree instead of agree. We disagree with people talking about negative ideas by using different expressions like, oh, I do, or I am, can, have, will, or would. Or you can say, really, I do, or I am, can, have, will, and would. You can say, I like it. Okay, we disagree with people talking about positive ideas by using different expressions like this. Oh, I don't. Or I am not, or can't, haven't, won't, or wouldn't. Or you can say, really, I don't, or I am not, can't, wouldn't, won't, or haven't. Okay, let's look at some examples. I prefer soup to salad. Oh, I don't. She doesn't like paella. Really, I do. I would rather have beer than wine. Oh, I wouldn't. Okay, let's practice some of these expressions. All right, you make a statement, and the other person will agree or disagree with you. Okay? Linda, you can start. Sylvia will agree or disagree with you.
Okay. I can speak English well.
I can too.
Good. Now, Sylvia and Alberto.
I love horror movies.
Oh, I don't. I prefer romantic movies.
Okay, now Alberto and Linda.
Dan doesn't like baseball.
Neither do I.
Good. Now Linda and Sylvia.
Our teacher prefers to eat at home.
So do I.
Good job, everyone. Now let's do some more looking and listening.
Look and listen.
She can't cook soup. Really, he can. They prefer water to milk. Oh, we don't. I would rather not have tea. Oh, I would.
Read and repeat. Review.
Now let's review what we've learned today. Look at the tables, and they show different ways that we can agree and disagree with someone. So let's take a look. A normal verb, example, I prefer meat to fish. Agreement, so do I, or I do too. When you disagree, you can say, oh, I don't. Really? I don't. Okay, another normal verb, for example, I like ice cream. You can agree by saying, so do I, or I do too. You can disagree by saying, oh, I don't, or really, I don't. If your verb is am, is, or are, let's look at an example. She is hungry. You can agree by saying, so am I, or I am too, or, oh, I'm not, or really, I'm not. When your verb is have, example, he has a beer. You can agree by saying, so have I, or I have too, or so do I, or I do too. Or to disagree, oh, I haven't. Or you can say, really, I haven't. Or, oh, I don't. Or really, I don't. Okay, if your verb is can, for example, he can cook. You can say, so can she. Or she can too. Or disagree by saying, oh, she can't. Or really, she can't. If your verb is would rather, for example, he would rather have wine than beer. You can agree by saying, so would we, or we would too. Disagree by saying, oh, we wouldn't, or really, we wouldn't. Okay, we have another chart to review. Take a look. Okay, negative sentences this time. Normal verb, I don't like ice cream. Agree, neither do I, or I don't either. Or disagree, oh, I do, or really, I do. When your verb is am, is, or are, for example, she isn't hungry. You can agree by saying, neither am I, or I'm not either. Disagree by saying, oh, I am, or really, I am. When your verb is have, he hasn't got a beer. You can say, neither have I, or I haven't either, or neither do I, or I don't either. Okay? Or you can disagree. Oh, I have, or really, I have, or oh, I do, or really, I do. When your verb is can, he can't cook. You can agree by saying neither can she, or she can't either. Disagree by saying, oh, she can, or really, she can. And your verb can be would rather. He would rather not have wine. You agree with the negative by saying, neither would I, or me neither. Disagree by saying, oh, we would, or really, we would. Okay, let's practice one more time. Linda, you ask Sylvia a question.
Okay. Sylvia, do you prefer playing football or baseball?
I prefer football.
Okay, Sylvia, you ask Alberto a question.
Okay. Alberto, would you rather go to the cinema or to the opera?
I would rather go to the cinema.
All right, now Alberto, ask Linda.
Okay. Linda, would you rather study English or Chinese?
I'd rather study English.
Good job. Now you will make a statement and the next person will agree or disagree with you. Linda, you start.
Sylvia, I would rather watch a romantic film than a horror film.
I wouldn't. I love horror films.
Okay, now Sylvia and Alberto.
I love horror films.
I don't. I prefer comedies.
Okay, good. Alberto and Linda.
Okay. I have a very pretty cat.
So do I. Her name is Kitty.
Good. Linda and Sylvia.
I want to finish this lesson.
So do I.
Okay. We're going to finish soon, don't worry. Now it's time to listen and write.
Listen and write.
Listen and write the sentences. Many people prefer to eat in a restaurant than cook at home. She would rather drink coffee than drink tea. We would rather not go to the restaurant tonight. Do you prefer eating the main course or the dessert? She isn't very hungry, but her friend is. I prefer not to eat meat. Would you rather have cake or fruit salad? She prefers drinking wine to drinking water. Which does he prefer, wine or beer? He would rather eat at home. Now check your work. Many people prefer to eat in the restaurant than cook at home. She would rather drink coffee than drink tea. We would rather not go to the restaurant tonight. Do you prefer eating the main course or the dessert? She isn't very hungry, but her friend is. I prefer not to eat meat. Would you rather have cake or fruit salad? She prefers drinking wine to drinking water. Which does he prefer, wine or beer? He would rather eat at home. Now, read the story and answer the questions about it.
Read and answer.
Many people prefer eating out rather than eating at home and cooking dinner. At a restaurant, Eric prefers to drink wine with his meal. With fish, he would rather drink white wine, and with meat, he would rather drink red wine. In the summer, he prefers to drink beer because it is nice and cool. Usually, after dinner, people prefer drinking coffee, but many people prefer drinking tea at breakfast time. Eric would rather not eat breakfast first thing in the morning. He prefers to wait until 10 or 11 a.m. for something to eat. At lunchtime, a lot of people prefer a light lunch, maybe a sandwich or a salad. Eric prefers to eat dinner in the evening after he finishes work. He would rather not drink coffee late at night because coffee stops him from sleeping. Now answer the questions. Where do many people prefer to eat? At home or in a restaurant? What does Eric prefer to drink with his meal? What would he rather drink with meat? What does he prefer to drink in the summer? Why does he prefer to drink beer? What do many people prefer to drink at breakfast time? When does he prefer to eat in the morning? What kind of things do many people prefer to eat at lunchtime? When does Eric prefer to eat dinner? Why would Eric rather not drink coffee late at night? Now, check your answers. Where do many people prefer to eat? At home or in a restaurant? Many people prefer to eat in a restaurant. What does Eric prefer to drink with his meal? He prefers to drink wine with his meal. What would he rather drink with meat? He would rather drink red wine with meat. What does he prefer to drink in the summer? He prefers to drink beer in the summer. Why does he prefer to drink beer? He prefers to drink beer because it is nice and cool. What do many people prefer to drink at breakfast time? Many people prefer drinking tea at breakfast time. When does he prefer to eat in the morning? He prefers to eat at 10 or 11 a.m. What kind of things do many people prefer to eat at lunchtime? Many people prefer to eat a light lunch, like a sandwich or a salad. When does Eric prefer to eat dinner? He prefers to eat dinner in the evening after he finishes work. Why would Eric rather not drink coffee late at night? Because coffee stops him from sleeping. Good job, thank you. See you again.
Practicing English.
I can't believe it. There are so many restaurants in this town. It seems like you can find any kind of food here. There's an Ethiopian restaurant, a Polynesian restaurant. I can't believe the choices.
Would you like to try some of these restaurants sometime?
Yes, I would. You know me. I love to try different kinds of food. I like lots of spicy food, like Mexican and Thai. And I love foods that are loaded with spice. Indian food is good.
I like Indian food too. There's a great restaurant by my house. It's called Bombay.
I've eaten there. The Bombay is great. They make wonderful food there.
I don't like spicy food. It burns my mouth.
Well, I think that we should go to a different kind of restaurant once a month.
That could get expensive. What about making an ethnic meal at home and having a dinner party?
That's a great idea.
I like it too. I can make French toast.
How do you make French toast?
Okay, I have a secret recipe from my grandmother. She made the best French toast. First, you take some bread, thick and nice from the bakery. Then you take some eggs and you break them and stir them in a bowl. Pour in a little milk, and the secret ingredient is 2 drops of vanilla. Now, take the bread, dip it in the mixture in the bowl, and put it in a hot frying pan. Cook both sides, add a little cinnamon, take it out of the frying pan. It's delicious.
Sounds great. I love pancakes, so this sounds good to me.
Let's talk more about our favorite restaurants. Where do you like to eat when you go to a restaurant, Sam?
Well, my favorite one was this restaurant I went to in Los Angeles one time. It was right on the beach. The seafood was great. I really liked being by the water. I didn't like the waiter, but the seafood was really good.
What about you, Alexi?
Well, my favorite restaurant is Antonio's. I didn't grow up eating Italian food in Greece, but now it's my favorite kind of food.
What do you like about it?
I love pasta. The tomato sauces, the cheeses, they're delicious.
I like them too. I like all the bread and dessert with Italian food. It's my favorite part.
Angie, what's your favorite restaurant?
My favorite is a restaurant called the Golden Dragon. It's in New York, in Chinatown, and they make the best chicken and black bean sauce anywhere.
What about the Chinese restaurants in Istanbul?
It's good, but not as good as the Golden Dragon.
I love steaks. Big and thick and juicy steaks.
Yeah, steaks are good.
What about Japanese food? Things like raw fish. You know, sushi.
I don't like food that isn't cooked.
Oh, no, I don't like sushi either. It's so squishy things wrapped up in seaweed.
Well, I guess we won't be going to any Japanese restaurants anytime soon.
I saw an ad for a Moroccan restaurant. It looked really good.
What kind of foods do they serve there?
It looks like a lot of meat dishes, with lamb, lots of exotic spices, and vegetables. It sounds great.
Yes, I think so too. Who would be interested in trying the Moroccan restaurant this weekend?
Meat sounds good to me.